There are places in this world that remember. Not just the land, not just the trees, but something older, something watching. And in the United States, those places are the national parks. Beautiful? Yes. Sacred? Absolutely. Safe? Not always. Because in the dark corners of those parks, people have seen things, heard things, things that should not exist. They call them Skinwalkers. I've collected stories all my life. People tell me things they'd never confess to the police or to their own families. Late-night calls, trembling voices, hushed warnings. And almost always, when it comes to skinwalkers, the pattern is the same. You hear something, something too familiar, a voice that shouldn't be there. Yosemite National Park, 2019. A group of 4 hikers set up camp deep in Yosemite. No one else for miles. They laughed, cooked their meals, told ghost stories around the fire. Ironic, isn't it? Around midnight, one of them heard his name, clearly, from the tree line. It was his best friend's voice, but his best friend was asleep, zipped up tight in his tent. The man whispered to the others, "Stop screwing around." They swore they weren't moving. Still the voice came again, louder, sharper. His name, dragged out, almost impatient. This is rule number 1, my friend. If you ever hear your name in the woods, do not answer, because the one calling you isn't your friend. The man stepped out of his tent anyway. He thought he was brave, thought maybe one of the others was messing with him. But as soon as he crossed into the dark, silence. No crickets, no wind, no sound at all. He said it felt like walking into a vacuum. And then, snap. A branch broke, but too close, too deliberate. He turned his flashlight, and for just a second he swore he saw himself standing between the trees. Same jacket, same hair, same smile. He ran back to camp screaming. His friends never saw a thing, but that night, none of them slept. That's the kind of detail people leave out when they tell urban legends. But when you've heard it straight from the ones shaking, eyes wide, voice cracking, you know they aren't lying. The Grand Canyon 2020. A park ranger, 30 years on the job, told me this one. He doesn't talk about it publicly, says nobody would believe him. But off record, his story never changed. He was making rounds near a campsite, checking for illegal fires. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. And then he saw it. A figure standing just outside the glow of the camper's lantern. Tall, too tall. The legs were wrong, thin like sticks, bending the wrong way at the knees. It was watching the group, not moving, just standing. The ranger shouted. The thing melted, that's the word he used, melted back into the shadows. And here's the part that chilled me. He said he could still hear it. Bones cracking, skin stretching, as if something was forcing itself into a shape that didn't belong.
You know what scares me more than the sighting itself? The ranger told me they don't look at you, they study you. Like you're a puzzle. Like they're trying to figure out how to wear you. The recordings. Now I know what you're thinking. Stories, legends, folklore. But what about proof? Hikers have gone missing. That much is public. You can read the reports yourself. People vanish in national parks every year. Some are never found. But sometimes, something is found. A recorder, a phone, a camera. One tape surfaced, quiet at first, just the wind. Then, laughter. Not adult laughter. A child's, in the middle of the forest at 2 in the morning. After that, there's a series of clicks, sharp, wet, bone-like sounds. Click, click, click. And then, screaming. When rangers recovered the tape, no trace of the hiker was ever found. And here's the detail that bothers me most. On the recording, right before it cuts out, you can hear a voice, clear as day. It says, "I found you." And it's the hiker's own voice. The trees. Skinwalkers leave marks, not just in stories, but on the land itself. Travelers have reported trees clawed higher than any bear could reach, scratches so deep the bark peels away. But here's the trick. You never notice the claw marks when you first set up camp. They show up later, when you're alone, when the fire burns low. Like something wants you to know it's already been watching. If you see a tree marked like that, don't stay. Don't argue, don't second guess, leave. Because the moment you notice the sign, they notice you back. You think I'm exaggerating? I wish I were. But you can check missing person reports in Yosemite, the Grand Canyon, Zion, Yellowstone. Too many vanish without explanation. And every ranger I've spoken to admits they've heard things they can't explain. So next time you plan a camping trip, remember this. The woods aren't empty. They're full of eyes, full of whispers, full of voices that sound too much like your own. And if you ever hear your name called in the night, do not answer, because it might not be calling to you. It might already be calling from inside you.
If you think what I told you before was disturbing, listen carefully now. Because the deeper you go into these stories, the clearer it becomes. Skinwalkers aren't just legends. They're predators, and they know us far too well. Most people think the word Skinwalker is just a scary name invented for campfire tales, but it comes from the Navajo people, the Dene. To them, Skinwalkers are Yinaldlushi. With it, he goes on all fours. They're witches, dark medicine men, people who chose power over humanity. And to gain that power, they gave up something unspeakable. I won't describe it in detail, not out of respect, but I'll tell you this. When someone willingly crosses that line, they can never come back. They become something else, something hollow. The Navajo don't even like to speak the word. because saying it can call their attention. Think about that. A legend so dangerous that speaking it out loud is like an invitation. Yellowstone National Park. One couple camped near a hot spring in Yellowstone. Middle of the night, they heard a baby crying. Now tell me, what's the first thing you'd do? You'd check. You'd want to help, right? But in the wilderness, there are no babies, only echoes. The husband went to investigate, flashlight in hand. His wife stayed back in the tent, waiting. Minutes passed. Then she heard his footsteps return. Relieved, she opened the tent flap and froze. It looked like her husband, same clothes, same face, but his smile was too wide, too fixed, like he was wearing it instead of feeling it. She screamed, and in that instant, the figure dropped the smile, tilted its head, and bolted faster than any man should move, straight into the tree line. Her husband returned 5 minutes later, disoriented, shaken. He swore he never found the baby. That's what they do. They use the one sound you can't ignore. The sound of someone you must protect. Zion National Park. A hiker named Daniel set up camp alone. Experienced guy, ex-military, not the type to scare easy. At 3 a.m., he was awakened by a voice outside his tent. His mother's voice, clear as day. "Danny, open up, it's me, I found you." But his mother lived 3 states away. Daniel stayed still, holding his breath. Then the zipper of his tent began to move. Slowly, quietly. Someone was unzipping it from the outside. He grabbed his knife, shouted, but when he lunged forward, the zipper was untouched, closed tight, no footprints, nothing. Except for one thing. Pressed into the dirt right next to his tent was a single handprint. Too big to be human, fingers too long, nails sharp enough to cut earth. Remember this, Skinwalkers don't just want to scare you. They want you to acknowledge them, to look, to speak, to give them that opening. The disappearances. The U.S. has hundreds of missing persons cases inside national parks. People vanish in broad daylight. Families split up for only minutes, and one never returns. Skeptics say it's cliffs, animals, accidents. Sure, sometimes. But what about when children describe the tall man who looked like Daddy? What about when trackers follow footprints that suddenly stop? Not at a cliff, not at water, just stop in the middle of open ground, as if someone stepped into the air and never came back down. And here's the part that makes my skin crawl. Rangers know. They never say it officially, but off record, they tell families not to camp in certain areas, not because of bears, not because of wolves, but because some places are watched. The rule. Skinwalkers copy. They learn your movements, your voice, your face, but they can't get it perfect. Look closely, listen carefully. There's always something off. The eyes don't blink right. The voice stumbles on a word. The smile doesn't quite reach the eyes. If you notice, don't say a word, because the moment you speak it aloud, the moment you acknowledge what's wrong, they know the disguise has failed, and that's when they strike. Now, I've told you these stories not to entertain you,
but to prepare you. Because the next time you're in the woods, you might hear something. A baby crying, a loved one calling, or worse, your own voice echoing back at you. And when that moment comes, remember what I said. Do not answer, do not follow, do not look too long. Because once a skinwalker knows you've seen it, it doesn't stop. It follows, it waits, and it wears you piece by piece until even your own family can't tell the difference. Then, faint rustling, and then a single whisper. I found you.